A billionaire was walking through his luxury hotel when a poor single mother suddenly stepped in front of him, holding an old photograph. She looked at him with tears in her eyes and said, "Do you recognize this little boy?" He looked at the photograph, and froze. It was a picture of himself as a child. But the woman standing beside him wasn't the mother he had known his entire life. Then she whispered, "I gave birth to you, and your father stole you from me." The billionaire thought she was lying. Until she showed him a document that could destroy his family, his father's legacy, and the entire fortune he had inherited. And what he discovered next changed his life forever. The billionaire was walking through the lobby of his luxury hotel when he noticed a poor woman standing near the entrance. She was holding an old photograph. Her clothes were worn. Her shoes were covered in rain. And she had a little envelope pressed tightly against her chest. The hotel manager was trying to remove her. "Ma'am, you can't stay here." But the woman refused to move. "I only need 5 minutes. Who are you here to see?" The woman looked toward the elevator. Then she whispered, "Ethan Carter." The manager laughed. "Mr. Carter doesn't meet people like you." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I don't need to meet him." She held up the photograph. "I just need him to see this." At that exact moment, the elevator doors opened. And billionaire Ethan Carter walked out. The woman looked at him. Her face suddenly changed. She whispered, "Oh my God." Ethan stopped. He had seen that photograph before. 30 years ago. The photograph. Ethan walked toward her. "What is that?" The woman held the photograph out. His hands immediately went cold. It showed a young boy standing beside a woman. The boy was about 5 years old. Ethan recognized the boy. It was him. But the woman standing beside him was not the mother who had raised him. Ethan looked at the stranger. "Where did you get this?" The woman started crying. "My name is Sarah." Ethan stared at her. "Why do you have a picture of me?" Sarah looked directly into his eyes. Then she said, "Because I was there when you were born." The woman's story. Security guards approached. Ethan raised his hand. "Leave us alone." The guards stepped back. Ethan looked at Sarah. "Explain." Sarah opened the envelope. Inside were several old documents. A hospital record. A birth certificate. And a photograph of a newborn baby. Ethan looked at the date. His date of birth. He felt dizzy. "This is fake." Sarah shook her head. "No. You expect me to believe this? I expect you to read it." Ethan looked at the birth certificate. The mother's name was Sarah Miller. Not the woman he had grown up calling mother. Ethan's heart began pounding. "My mother was Elizabeth Carter." Sarah whispered. "She raised you. But I gave birth to you." The night everything changed. Sarah explained what happened 30 years earlier. She had been 22. Poor. Pregnant. And completely alone. The baby's father had disappeared before the child was born. Sarah worked at a small restaurant. She barely earned enough to survive. Then, one night, a wealthy businessman walked into the restaurant. His name was Richard Carter. Ethan's father. Richard discovered that Sarah was pregnant. He asked her, "Who is the father?" Sarah didn't know what to say. Then Richard made an unbelievable offer. He would pay all her medical expenses. He would give her money. He would find her a place to live. But he wanted something in return. Sarah had no idea what he meant. Until the baby was born. The deal. After Ethan was born, Richard came to the hospital. He stood beside Sarah's bed. She was exhausted. Her newborn son was sleeping beside her. Richard looked at the baby. Then he said, "You can't raise him." Sarah immediately hugged her child. "He's my son." Richard replied, "You don't have money. I can work. You don't have a home. I'll find one. You can't give him the life I can." Sarah refused. Then Richard showed her a document. A custody agreement. "If you sign this, your son will grow up wealthy." Sarah looked at the document. She refused. Richard then said something that terrified her. "If you don't sign, I'll make sure you never see him again." "The secret?" Sarah asked. "Why do you want my son?" Richard didn't answer. Instead, he explained that his wife, Elizabeth, couldn't have children. He wanted an heir. Someone who would inherit the Carter fortune. Sarah realized what was happening. Richard wanted to take her baby. She refused. But Richard had power. Money. Lawyers. Connections. And Sarah had nothing. Within weeks, Richard had convinced everyone that Sarah was unstable. The hospital records disappeared. The legal documents were changed. And Elizabeth Carter became Ethan's official mother. Sarah was forced out of the city. She spent years trying to find her son. But Richard always stayed one step ahead. Ethan doesn't believe her. Ethan looked at Sarah. "If all this is true, why did you wait 30 years?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't. I searched for you. Every birthday. Every Christmas. I came to your schools. I watched your graduation from across the street." Ethan's face changed. "You were there?" Sarah nodded. "But your father warned me." "What did he say?" "He told me that if I ever approached you, he would destroy your life." Ethan looked away. His entire childhood suddenly felt different. He remembered something. A woman standing outside his school. A red coat. He remembered looking at her. His father had pulled him away. "Don't talk to strangers." Ethan had forgotten about it. Until now. The DNA test. Ethan demanded a DNA test. Sarah agreed. 2 days later, the results arrived. Ethan opened the envelope. He read the first line. 99.99% probability of biological relationship. He sat down. Sarah was his mother. The woman he had been told was a stranger. Had been searching for him his entire life. Ethan looked at her. "Why didn't Dad tell me?" Sarah answered. "Because he knew you'd come looking for me." Ethan's voice broke. "He stole my life." Sarah shook her head. "No. He stole mine." The second secret. Ethan thought that was the end. But Sarah had one more envelope. "This is why I came today." Ethan opened it. Inside was a letter written by his father. It was dated 3 months before Richard died. Ethan began reading. "Ethan. If you ever discover the truth about Sarah, you will probably hate me. I deserve that. But there is something you don't know. Sarah wasn't the only person I took something from. Your entire fortune began with money that wasn't mine." Ethan stopped. He read the next page. Richard admitted that decades earlier, he had taken control of Sarah's family's small business. The business eventually became the foundation of Carter Industries. The billionaire empire Ethan had inherited had started with something that belonged to Sarah's family. Ethan stared at the letter. His father hadn't just stolen a child. He had stolen a future. The billionaire's decision. Ethan called his lawyers. He asked one question. How much of my company came from my father's original business? The lawyers were silent. Finally one answered. Almost all of it. Ethan closed his eyes. Then he made a decision. He transferred ownership of the original assets to Sarah. The lawyers were shocked. Sir, that could cost you hundreds of millions. Ethan replied. It's not mine. The family meeting. That evening, Ethan invited Sarah to his mansion. For the first time in 30 years. She walked through the front door of the house where her son had grown up. She looked at the photographs on the walls. Ethan as a child. Ethan graduating. Ethan receiving awards. Ethan becoming a billionaire. Sarah touched one photograph. She whispered. I missed everything. Ethan stood beside her. I missed you. Sarah began crying. I wanted to come back. I know. I wanted to hold you. I know. I never stopped loving you. Ethan finally hugged her. And for the first time in his life, he understood what it felt like to hug the person who had given him life. The woman who raised him. But there was one more person Ethan couldn't forget. Elizabeth. The woman he had called mother. Ethan visited her. She was sitting alone in the garden. When she saw him, she immediately knew. You found her. Ethan nodded. Elizabeth began crying. I knew you would eventually. Ethan asked. Did you know? She looked down. At first, no. Then? Your father told me the truth when you were 10. Ethan's heart broke. And you stayed silent? Elizabeth cried. I was selfish. Why? Because by then, you were my son too. Ethan didn't know what to say. Elizabeth continued. I didn't steal you from Sarah. Your father did. But I was too afraid to give you back. Ethan sat beside her. For the first time, he realized something complicated. Elizabeth had been part of the lie. But she had also loved him. The final choice. Ethan could have hated both women. Instead, he did something unexpected. He brought them together. Sarah and Elizabeth sat across from each other. For 30 years, they had been separated by one man's decision. Now they were sitting in the same room. Sarah looked at Elizabeth. I hated you. Elizabeth nodded. I know. But I also know you loved him. I did. Sarah looked at Ethan. So did I. Ethan smiled through his tears. Then maybe we don't have to lose each other anymore. 1 year later, Ethan sold several luxury properties. He returned money to families affected by his father's old business practices. He created a foundation in Sarah's name. Its purpose was simple. Helping single mothers who had nowhere to turn. Sarah became the foundation's director. Elizabeth became a volunteer. And Ethan? He stopped calling himself a billionaire. When people asked him what he had inherited from his father, he would say, money. Then they would ask, what did your father leave you that money couldn't buy? Ethan would smile. A secret that finally brought me home. The final scene. One evening, Ethan, Sarah, and Elizabeth were sitting together at the foundation. A young single mother walked in carrying her baby. She looked frightened. She didn't know where she would sleep that night. Sarah immediately stood up. She walked toward her. You're safe here. Ethan watched from across the room. He remembered the day Sarah had stood outside his hotel holding his childhood photograph. At the time, he had thought she was asking for money. He had been wrong. She wasn't asking for his fortune. She was asking for something money could never replace. Her son. Ethan looked at his mother. Then he smiled. Sometimes the biggest family secrets aren't meant to destroy us. Sometimes they are buried for years, until we're finally strong enough to uncover them. And sometimes the person standing outside your door isn't a stranger. They're the person you've been waiting your entire life to come home to.